I would like to welcome you all in today's Malawi Crime Podcast. Today we have Inspector Maurice Chapola, who is the Northern Region Police Headquarters Public Relations Officer. You are most welcome in today's program.
Thank you very much.
Today we are going to discuss the offense of theft. The public, they have to have the knowledge to what the theft is all about. So let me open this floor to explain more, to dig more on this offense. What is theft?
Well, in the first place, let me start by defining what theft is all about. When you talk of theft, this is what is stated under Section 278 of the Penal Code. Probably before I go down to what are the contents of this section, let me say that when we talk of the Penal Code, this is Chapter 701 of the laws of Malawi, where cases that infringes this particular chapter are also attached with the penalties to that effect. So coming to the issue of theft, it is defined by this penal code under Section 278 that any person who steals anything capable of being stolen. It means when they say anything that is capable of being stolen, it means something that is worth it to be stolen. Lies under this Section 278 of the Penal Code, and it is said through this section that that particular individual shall be guilty of the felony termed as theft. So in this case, let me also say that cases are being classified into two. Others are classified as felony, while others are classified as misdemeanor. A quick look at the two. When we say of misdemeanor, it means that offense is minor. It's aggravating factors, not all that huge that it can amount to custodial sentence, but in other circumstances, even misdemeanors can render one in imprisonment. But mostly, when we saw issues or cases that can render one into custody or into imprisonment, those cases that are classified as felony in nature. And the only thing that also separates the two is that cases that are classified as misdemeanor, they are bearable by police bail. So cases that are classified as felony, it's the court which can grant bail. So it means all cases, as per the Constitution, one can be granted bail. The other difference is that the bail can be either be granted by the police or the other can be granted by the court. But in cases where we say that all cases can be bailed by the court, it depends with the factors from one case to another. Coming back to the issue of theft, where we say that this issue to do with theft is felony in nature. But however, quite contrary to a number of issues that fall under this family of felony cases, theft is being defined in many chapters under the Penal Code, starting from Section 278 going down. As I said, that the general punishment attached to theft, which has been defined by saying that anything capable of being stolen lies that 5 years imprisonment with hard labor. That is the general sentence. But however, one would question, we said that theft is a felony, which one would expect that its penalties may go as far as 14 years imprisonment, even life imprisonment. That is very true, because let me quickly say that issues to do with theft have been outlined in a number of issues where you agree with me that apart from the definition, there are also other elements attached to issues to do with the theft. I would quickly say that from Section 278, where things are also being outlined, that one can be charged and subsequently imprisoned after being proved guilty of stealing what we call a will. A will has been prepared that if I die, these items should be distributed as follows. And somebody comes in and plays around with the will, steals that particular will, that can also be charged. And from there you will see the difference this time around, that we are saying that the general punishment to theft under section 279, rather 278, is 5 years imprisonment. But stealing a will, one can go away with 10 years imprisonment. Going down the sections, like in section 208, where one can be imprisoned for stealing postal matters. When we talk of postal matters, we are referring to issues that can be posted. Mail that has been sent to somewhere else, and one thinks that probably this is my chance, I should go away with the mail. It means that will also be penalized for stealing that particular mail. And the sentence attached to that is 10 years imprisonment exactly. So you do understand that going down the sections, theft is either a felony, as witnessed by the sentences that are also attached to different items that have been stolen. As we have already looked at, that you stole postal matters, you stole a will, you stole cattle, because if you stole cattle, goat, pigs and the like, one can also be imprisoned for 14 years, where you do also see that the number of years.
Yes, is there any elements that one can prove the offense of theft?
Yes, I would be saying that from the definition itself, where it is said that any person who steals anything capable of being stolen shall be guilty of the following theft. So you do quickly understand that for an offense of theft to be committed, there must be things to do with that particular thing is capable of being stolen. Because if you quickly analyze things that can be capable of being stolen, one would say, I have a car, I have probably a house, I have a fridge in my house. Those are things that can be capable of being stolen. Because you do not notice that probably something that are not capable of being touched. You talk of air at your premises, that cannot be capable of being stolen. So one thing that should bear in mind is that that particular thing should be something that can be stolen. It should be there as a subject of the offense. Where it does not exist, it means it cannot be stolen. So it cannot be taken into account that this thing has been stolen. And one other thing should be depriving the ownership of that particular thing from the new owner, transferring the ownership without consent. That automatically translates that particular thing has been stolen. I'll give an example that one comes to my office and takes a laptop from me, but the thing of the laptop is not that he is depriving the ownership from me. But he just taking the laptop probably helps him or her use for a certain purpose. Bring that particular laptop back. That is not stolen. It has not been stolen from me. But taking the laptop with intention that that particular laptop should not be given back to me, depriving my control over that particular laptop. That means that particular thing has been stolen from me. It is also said that by way of taking that particular item from an individual, whether that the particular thing has been taken using violence, there have been threats immediately or after the commission of the offense, those becomes aggravating factors to the issue to do with theft. As I said, that theft can be seen at a broader range. It is also very clear that there are circumstances that theft can also be equally understood better. For instance, as I said earlier on, that it must be very clear that that particular thing has been stolen from another individual. So it may be that there are still something from your own history. Unless it happens that you are charged in a public offense, whereby you will be entrusted to get another items with you, in the long run you have decided probably to deprive that organization or the government that entrusted you in getting those particular things. Then you can be charged of taking the public servant. You understand that this issue to do with the safety trickles down to many issues, depending on how those particular issues relate to how you have deprived the ownership of that particular item that has been stolen. So I would quickly say some of these circumstances that may be taken as circumstances or aggravating factors, issues to do with the safety. These can also be equally cross-checked under section 282 of the Penal Code, where these circumstances have been outlined. For example, as I've already put it, that it must be noted that this particular issue or this particular item has been stolen from one individual. And it is also on record that anything that can be taken from a vehicle that is on transit, it means that a person can also be charged of theft, knowing that he tried to find ownership of that particular thing, but the only difference is that that item is being taken from a vehicle that is on transit. And at the same time that in the event that a thing has been stolen from the public office in which it is being deposited or kept, one may also be taken to task for probably taking from that particular public office. And it is also clear that if you take a basket, the laws from the Penal Code under section 282 have specifically pointed out that taking a bicycle from one individual, depriving the ownership of that particular bicycle constitutes an offense. That if you store a bicycle, you may be charged of theft of bicycle. And under such kind of circumstances that are aligned, one can be imprisoned for 10 years. But I would quickly also tell you that stealing from a public service, one cannot be left free. It has to be taken to task. Because if you steal from public service, definitely the consequences that you have to stay behind bars for a period of not less than 10 years.
Would you please explain the types of theft that we have in our country?
Well, as I said, that issues to safety are broad in nature. As it has already been alluded to, that circumstances differ from one type of safety to the other. So it is also stated under the Penal Code that probably how the offense has been committed becomes one of the criteria of defining types of safety. As I've already put it, that if one steals postal matters, it means that one can be taken to task under section 280 of the Penal Code, where stealing of postal matters is being prohibited. But also trickling down to section 281 of the Penal Code, one would also be taken to task if he or she takes or deprives ownership of either animals like goat, pig, cow. It means that particular individual can be taken to task for stealing cattle, and if the court proves beyond reasonable doubt, and it has all the reasons to say that this particular convict is a subsequent offender, he can be taken to task and be imprisoned for 14 years with hard labor. So we do also understand that not only those are the classes of theft, but it is also said under section 282 of the same penal code, where you say that a thing has been stolen from another individual. On its own, that particular individual can be taken to task, and depending on the circumstances, be it that item has been stolen from a motor vehicle that is on transit, and be it that stolen item forms part of a railway. So we should understand that the framers of the law deliberately knew that there are other issues that should be deliberately forward, that if that particular individual tries in any way to store those particular things, should be taken to task. For instance, as I've put it, that anything that forms part of a railway and has been stolen, so it means that particular individual can be taken to task under section 282 of the penal code. This section also talks about issues to do with somebody who is the custodian of public office, and something that is being kept in that particular office has been stolen. It also trickles down to say that particular person can be taken to task for not taking good care of the items under his control. So he can be charged of stealing from the person or stealing goods in transit, etc., under section 282 of the penal code, where also that if you take a bicycle and deprive the ownership, you can also be taken to task. So in other circumstances, you quickly say that one would be said to have been charged with the theft of a bicycle. But in true sense, this is under section 202 of the penal code, where it is only looking at the circumstances, how the offense was committed. And in the event that it has been noted by the court that all the points to prove that the offense was really committed, it means there is that likelihood that the maximum sentence could be 10 years imprisonment with hard labor. But let me quickly say that it is on record that when we say some sentence to any offense, as per law, it is given to those that are subsequent offenders, so offenders that are habitual. Where to define that this is a habitual criminal lies in the hands of the court, and it is rather subjective. One can be said to be habitual in the event that he committed the same offense twice, thrice, but the court could decide whether this is the right and proper to hand him the maximum sentence. That lies in the hands of the court. So trickling down to these other types of theft, let me also say that stealing by persons in public service, it is also an offense under theft. This is as stated under section 283 of the penal code. So it means if one is working under public service and he deliberately chooses to get something whilst he is working under public service, he can be taken to task. So one should understand that if you are working under public service and you take something, it will not be just a general theft, but because you are working under a certain public service, you can be charged under section 283 of the penal code. And it should also come to our mind that that alone becomes an aggravating factor. Because once you are working with a public service, it means you have been entrusted that you take good care of the items in that particular office. So if you breach that particular trust, bestowed over you, definitely you need to dance to the tune, as stipulated under section 283 of the Penal Code. And let me also quickly say that circumstances as put across, whether that particular theft was committed with or immediately use threats, it means it becomes an aggravating factor. So you can either steal from a building house, but how that particular commissioning of the case was committed, it also be some of the factors that can be put in place to determine the type of theft that has been committed. This brings us to say that in the event that you are a public servant or you are working in the public service where you have been entrusted to keep items with you, and it's not you who have eventually, or you who happens to be the one taking out the items or depriving the public service of the items it owns. It may be the issue where you say that the items have been stolen by a certain individual, but the law will not let you go freely because you have the custody of those particular items. This is said under section 284 of the Penal Code, whereby you have negligently or recklessly, let me put it, recklessly lost the items, either to somebody who happens to have stolen those items from you, but because you had no care of those particular items, you can be charged of negligence by a public officer in preserving money or any other property. That is to say, section 284 of the Penal Code criminalizes any reckless that can be encountered by a custodian of issues to do with property belonging to public service. So you do understand that issues to do with theft are broad in nature, and as it is also indicated under section 285 of the Penal Code, where it also criminalizes issues to do with the theft of public subscriptions, where you quickly say that there may be other subscriptions that may be attached to public service, and you are under control, you are in the hand to say that you control those items. But eventually it has transpired that those subscriptions have been stolen. You will not be left alone, but you can be charged of theft of public subscriptions, where it happens that in the event the court has proved beyond reasonable doubt that he really committed the offense, you can be in prison, sent to prison, and you can be in prison for hard labor. Remember when we say that issues to do with felony as put in place in the preamble of our discussion, it means being a felony, in most of the times, sentences won't be attached to it, custodial sentences. The only difference would be in the number of years when one is supposed to be sent to prison. At the same time, circumstances may be taken as aggravating factors on how the court would come to say that basing on these factors, the court is convinced that probably this one has to be sent to prison. We should also quickly say that when one is being sent to prison, there might be other issues that the court takes into account. Some of them being that one is being sent to prison probably to send a signal to the offenders. At the same time, it might be sent to prison probably to at least see that particular convict become a good citizen at the completion of the sentence, and at the same time, at least to give a conducive environment to the residents, probably to people out there, that people should not live under high levels of fear. So you would understand that the issues to do with sentencing have got the bearing of so many factors attached to them. That is why when we talk of theft, can be described and be classified depending on how that particular theft was commissioned. So I'll take you to section 283 of the same law. It is also indicated that those that are working as clerks and civil servants, they have not been left out on issues to do with theft. Because if a clerk or somebody working as a civil servant steals any property, that particular civil servant or clerk can be charged under section 206 of the penal code. And it is also said that the stealing by clerks and servants is an offense of theft under this section of 206. So I do understand that from section 278 going down to at least 287, 88, it is all saying about issues that can be put as related to safety. So it is only to say that these issues doing with theft are broad, depending on the circumstances, how that particular theft was committed. As it has always been alluded to, that he was a public servant and he thinks of depriving ownership of any while doing that, and that particular offense can be charged of theft by public servant. And where you would also understand that one is a clerk or a servant, and he deliberately chooses to go the opposite way as divided under section 278 of the penal code, which is general theft. It can also be taken to task. So in a nutshell, I would say that theft is broad. And the only thing that is of paramount and can be overemphasized is that depending on the circumstances, how theft was conducted brings to say that that particular theft should be classified so that it should also bear a different number of years attached to it. As it has already been said that some of these theft issues, depending on circumstances, can attract sentences ranging from 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and above.
Thank you very much. You have been a very wonderful guest today. Thank you so much. Thank you.